Happy Thursday, everyone. It is a 85-degree day here in Los Angeles County. 85 degrees, and then at night down to 60. We still don't know why there is a 30-degree drop from afternoon to. But anyways, as Richie from Boston says, I digress. So I wanted to share a little bit with y'all. I had a little pause from uploading videos. I think I had one or two mini clips yesterday, just observations. But for the last year, just the last year, literally from October 16th, I remember it to the date. I've been dealing with panic attacks, and a lot of people associate it with your history of, recreational drug use and alcohol and things like that. And I've never had, reactions like that in my past. Even through my dark night of the soul, I never had anxiety. It just seemed when I acknowledged my true path and freed myself is when all this started. So a year ago, I lived next door to this grumpy old man. Forgive my judgment. But this dude was he hated me. He didn't like that, a homosexual was next door to him. I wasn't bringing people over. I wasn't, that's what I hate about titles and categories, because sometimes it's really about how my heart feels with someone, not necessarily a lifestyle, you know what I mean? So this person didn't like that. He didn't like that, I was a lighter skin color black person than he was. I always was a happy person. He always complained about me always laughing, in the midday, like 1 p.m. Like, he always complained about when I go to Uber drive, why does he have to come back home at midnight? And he used to always complain to the property landlord, like every morning at 6 o'clock in the morning. I would hear him complain. So he drove my anger and aggression to the point where I just wanted to, I didn't want to hurt him. I didn't want to go to jail. I already knew my calling, my divine purpose. But he had pushed my energy level so high. And I also had a friend of mine too, who we were very close. People refer them as twin flames. And she was no help either during that time, because she was accusing me of certain things that I didn't want to do, or things that, she felt we were supposed to do, and I didn't feel like it. Like, I don't know. So I had two prideful energies, two things that would not leave me alone at all hours of the day, and it just pushed me to a mental state of like the highest of aggression that I could have ever felt in my life. So long story short, I ended up leaving the apartment where I lived, and I didn't have a plan. I just said, I'm gonna be a gypsy. And I thought it would take like a month, 2 months, staying in a motel or hotel. I ran through all of my money, and then I ended up having to live out of my car. And that's why I call my car the savior, because this car has really saved my life, has been my protector, has been my shield. I haven't gotten to any incidences with this car, so I'm very grateful and I'm very blessed that this car literally has been my knight in shining armor. Sorry for the rumbling here. But I wanted to talk about the main subject, which is anxiety, and it's not associated with depression. I think a lot of people who are very spiritual, who are very in tune to their gifts, such as I, and a lot of people who started following me recently, the more you feel in general, the more you are going to feel everything. It's just a part of the plan. And it's horrible, because when you feel like something's not right somewhere in the world and you just can't figure out what it is, that feeling of fear and that feeling of being terrified, you feel like something's chasing you and you're about to die, it's really hard. And then you go to doctors, and I've been sharing this story with a lot of people. It took me a year until Tuesday to really like say, look, doctor, I hate to ask for some prescription, but I have to. For one time I need to block this feeling just for once, so I can get the rest that I need. And after my body feels that recuperation, I will need to go to anything. And I think like in my history, I've showed no signs of prescription addiction and whatnot. So it's like working closely with a doctor and a physician, being very honest about everything. That's the whole point. And I found a really good doctor, and the best thing about her was she referred me to, I think having a therapist when you're doing prescription medicine is awesome. I never like to keep things a secret, because when people are learning myself or getting close to me as a person, I think it's important to know, what types of resources someone is getting. I'm going on a bumpy road. What type of resources people choose to put in their environment, and talking about it can help inspire other people. See, on the other platform, social media called Facebook, everyone's so quick to tell me, oh, Aaron, we love who you are, we like to keep your positive image, but please don't share way too much. It's, no one needs to know all your business, and you should protect your information. And I'm like, but if people are around me all the time, they're going to know something's wrong, and they're going to irritate me until I tell them what's going on. So I'd rather be a beacon of light and share the resolutions, the resources, and the closure that I'm trying to get. And I think as long as it's in that perspective, there shouldn't be a problem. And also too, people might have gone through the same thing and have recommendations also. And what's fascinating is, not saying this is just because, but I talked to one of my clients today who came to my service, and her father passed away, and she came to my class for that release. And if you don't know, I do exercise, group fitness, and so it's a really good avenue for people who are going through a lot to let it out. And guess what? I have to take it. And people don't understand the spiritual part of it is my kundalini is facing the people who are going through a lot of emotions, a lot of different situations. And all that, it gets absorbed by people like me. Like, we harvest those things. It's just what comes with the territory. So for me, I rather deal with it, because I'm saving lives every day. Even though it's affliction on the body, there's one man who paid the ultimate sacrifice. You know what I mean? I always have to tell myself Jesus paid the ultimate sacrifice. Like, if you were uncertain, well, let's say you were certain that your own body being taken out for the sake of all of the future, would you do that? And a lot of people these days will say, no, I don't know the future. I don't know these people. I do not know what you're talking about. So for me, in that example, I understand I'm taking on a lot because I'm helping a lot of people. And it's horrible. Like, there's some days where I'm fighting my solar plexus and whatever is trying to get in my solar plexus. And let's go there. Those demonic forces that really always try to like possess you and attack you, and these are things that people don't talk about. So that's why I'm very fortunate to have the courage to open up and say, look, like, I'm bombarded by SHI all the time. And though I am saved because I was born again and baptized as a child, it already had my soul had already been reaped with the journey since childhood. And I've learned that people who don't have that, who have not, it's really hard for them to continue the journey. Like they're stopped somewhere. Like there's a person who everyone looks up to, but he's not saved. But he's carrying the messages and he's delivering the truth. But the fact that he's not saved, it only puts him at a certain capacity. Whereas someone who is born again, baptized, and they have been proclaimed as saved in front of a congregation, in front of God, in front of the reason why baptism is important, because it's the water. The water is the spirit. Water is the earth. Water is purity. And when you're declaring that in front of a benevolent presence, it stays with you forever. Like, I don't know if you guys saw that video. It's a little cuckoo yesterday by Press Record, and the rest is history. But I know a lot of people didn't respond because it's different. And it's something that people can resonate with because they're not... You have to come to a certain conviction in your life or a certain understanding to see something like that. And I'm very fortunate that I have a buddy in crime and we've been paralleling the same messages every day, and I'm very grateful of my relationship with her. She's like my sister. But yeah, I wanted to just let everyone know that if you're dealing with panic and anxiety and all this stuff, and you have a calling on your life, sometimes we have to sit with a doctor and play normal and just say, you know, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm at a point of losing it. And I almost felt I was about to lose my marbles last week. It was like, I cannot go through another day of heart palpitations and feeling like my heart's racing as though like something scary is about to kill me. Like, I really kept feeling that way. And it's insane. And then some questions came up where people were asking me what happened to you as a child. And what's fascinating is I have a deleted memory of a child where I blacked out because an adult jumped in a playpen of kids and he landed on top of me and I blacked out. And there was also another time at 18 I jumped off of a car and I hit my head. And so a lot of these traumatized situations that you have to suppress and ignore and deal with without therapy, without, you know, counseling, or without talking about it, they stay in the body. So then when you come to another point of your life where similar emotions are coming up, or that category comes up, like even recently, I've been, where I live, I've been feeling like I'm pushed up against the wall because everyone's so nosy. Like, everyone is so, not intentionally nosy, but they just won't go, they won't leave you in your peace. Like, there's someone at the door all the time, or there's a dog barking, or there's a cat meowing, or, you know, the moment where you're at your quiet point at 10 p.m. in your bed, you know, the landlord is playing you know, police walkie-talkie out loud in the courtyard. And it's like, why are you guys doing all this nonsense? So it really shows me how people who don't have a calling, people who are not saved, are really possessed. And they're like going through these cycles and actions that they do not understand, but their bloodline and their history, their family history, origin or whatnot, has this unresolved karma. And people don't know why they're acting out a certain way. A lot of people call this ADHD, or they call it ADD. So be careful when you're calling yourself, oh, I'm ADD, sorry, I'm just hyperactive. Like, don't do that to yourself. I know I'm OCD because I always have to correct and present accordingly, and I have to be correct about it. People are always watching me, so it's like I don't ever want to put out anything that's failed or anything that is inaccurate, you know. So, and this is why, like, I'm very grateful that my YouTube videos have not received but 3 negative actions in the history of my videos. Thank goodness. Woo! anyways, I love you guys. Thank you for rooting for me. Oh yeah, I didn't even talk about what happened. So I had a blood drawn on Tuesday, and it was really just to like check everything and make sure that everything was accurate and fine. And yeah, these panic attacks were horrible, but I thankfully I was able to talk to my doctor about having treatment, and that way I can get back to my journey and really be the best that I can, because so much is being asked of me, and I can't sometimes holistics and remedies can only worsen the circumstances, and that's what happened. I took a natural supplement, 2 natural supplements that are beneficial, but then they were slowing my heart down, and that was surfacing my anxiety and panic. And it's fascinating because I'm like, wow, the enemy is great at tricking the mind, because for a moment I thought something was wrong with me, and I was going through it and resolving it naturally. But who knew, like, just from my mind trying to assess something I was feeling, it almost killed me. The enemy definitely knows how to get to you through your weakness and your strengths. So stay encouraged, everyone, and take care, and be good to yourselves and each other. Take care.